The UEMS Mercy floated quietly in space. It was a large white ship with red markings that showed it was a hospital. Captain Susan Green stood by the big window on the bridge. She watched the stars and the nearby planet. Her ship was special. It helped sick and hurt people from all over space. The Mercy was not a warship. It had no guns or weapons. Its shields were only strong enough to stop small rocks and space dust. That was okay. Everyone respected hospital ships. It was an unwritten rule across the galaxy. No one attacked healers. Dr. Alan Ward walked through the quiet halls of the medical section. The lights were dim to help patients sleep. He checked his tablet as he moved from room to room. The Mercy had 342 patients today. Some were human. Many were not. In room 12, a blue-skinned Centaurian ambassador lay sleeping. His skin had been badly burned by radiation when his ship's engine failed. Next door, twin children from the mining colony on Vega 6 were recovering from lung disease. Dr. Ward smiled at their mother, who had not left their side in 6 days. "How are they doing today?" he asked softly. "Better," she whispered. "They breathed on their own for 2 hours today." Dr. Ward made a note in his tablet. "That's very good news." The Mercy had been doing this work for 15 years. It traveled where it was needed. It never asked questions about which side anyone was on in the small wars and fights that sometimes broke out between planets. The ship simply helped the hurt and sick. In the ship's cafeteria, Nurse Ben Lewis ate his dinner. He was tired after a 12-hour shift. At the next table, engineers Carl Peterson and Rita Gomez talked about home. They had been away from Earth. For 11 months, the Mercy would return to the solar system in another 6 weeks for resupply. "I can't wait to see real trees again," Rita said, "and feel real gravity." Carl smiled. "I want to swim in the ocean. The ship's pool is too small." On the bridge, Captain Green checked the ship's course with her first officer, Jack Nelson. "We'll reach the jump point in about 20 hours, Jack said. "Then it's 3 days to the Arcturus system." Susan nodded. "The Arcturians have a refugee situation on their third moon. A lot of sick people need our help." Officer Olivia Patel worked at the communication station. Her job was to listen to messages from across space and send out the Mercy's signal. The signal was simple. It said, "This is UEMS Mercy, a hospital, ship from Earth. We offer medical help to all who need it." The first blast hit without warning. The ship shook hard. People fell from chairs. Alarms began to sound. What was that? Captain Green grabbed her console to stay standing. "Asteroid collision?" "No, Captain." Jack looked at his screen with wide eyes. "We've been hit by weapons fire." "That's impossible," Susan said. "Check again." The second blast hit harder than the first. The lights on the bridge went out for 3 seconds before emergency power came on. "Shields are down," a young officer called out. "Hull breach on deck 7. In the medical section, Dr. Ward heard the alarms. The floor under him shook. Patients began to wake up, scared and confused. The medical staff moved quickly to calm them. "It's okay," Dr. Ward told the Centaurian ambassador, who was trying to sit up. "Just stay in bed, I'm sure it's—" The third blast cut him off. This one was directly above the medical section. The ceiling cracked. Air began to hiss out. Emergency. "Doors closing," a computer voice announced. Metal doors slid shut, sealing off the damaged sections. On the bridge, Officer Patel was sending emergency messages as fast as she could. "This is UEMS Mercy. We are an unarmed hospital ship. We have patients on board. Please cease fire." Captain Green saw them through the main window now. 3 black ships shaped like arrowheads. They moved with strange grace. Blue lights pulsed along their hulls. They were like nothing she had ever seen before. "No response to our messages," Olivia said, her voice shaking. "They're not talking to us." "Launch all escape pods," Susan ordered. "Get the patients out first." Across the ship, crew members helped patients into small escape pods. Each pod could hold 6 people. They were designed to reach the nearest safe place or float until help came. The black ships fired again. This time they targeted the escape pods as they launched. "They're shooting the escape pods," Jack said in disbelief. "Who does that?" In the medical section, Dr. Ward helped the mother from Vega 6 get her twins into an escape pod. You'll be okay, he told her. The pod will take you to the nearest station. He closed the pod door and sent it away, knowing it probably wouldn't make it. On the bridge, Captain Green made her last decision. We need to warn Earth, she said. Olivia, send everything we have. All sensor data, all visuals. Tell them what happened here. Officer Patel worked quickly. The message would take 18 hours to reach Earth, traveling faster than light, but still limited by the laws of physics. The black ships circled the Mercy like sharks. They fired with careful aim, hitting life support engines and medical areas. It wasn't random. They knew exactly what they were doing. In her last moments, Captain Susan Green looked at the attackers through the failing view screen. She spoke her final words into the ship's recorder. They knew exactly what we were. The blast that hit the bridge ended the recording. 18 hours later, at United Earth Military Command Headquarters in Geneva, Admiral Frank Donovan received the message. He watched in silence as the Mercy died. 2,000 medical personnel and patients from 17 different species. All gone. He looked at his staff. No one spoke for a long time. Get me the president, he finally said. And wake up the war fleet. In orbit around Mars, in the shipyards where Earth's military vessels had slept for 30 peaceful years, lights began to come on. Engines that had been cold started to warm. Weapon systems began to run checks. Earth had been at peace for a long time. But someone had just broken the most basic rule of civilization. They had attacked a hospital ship. Earth would respond. At United Earth Military Command in Geneva, people moved with quick purpose. The room was large, with screens on every wall. Maps of stars and planets glowed with blue and green lights. But one screen showed only static now. Where the Mercy had been, there was nothing. Admiral Frank Donovan stood very still. He was an older man with gray hair cut short. His blue uniform had many medals, but today they felt heavy. He had watched the final moments of the Mercy 3 times now. Each time his face grew harder. Play it again, he said. A young officer, named Maria Chen, looked up from her station. Sir, we've seen everything there is to see. Play it again, Admiral Donovan repeated. The screen lit up once more. Captain Susan Green's final message played. The bridge of the Mercy shook around her. Smoke filled the air. Her face was calm even as she spoke her last words. They knew exactly what we were. The screen went dark again. General Laura Wilson stood beside Admiral Donovan. She commanded Earth's ground forces, though there had been no real war for 30 years. They targeted a hospital ship, she said quietly. They shot down the escape pods one by one. The room fell silent. 2,000 people had died on the Mercy. Doctors, nurses, engineers, and patients from many worlds. The attack made no sense. Hospital ships were sacred. Even in the worst wars of human history, most fighters had left medical ships alone. What do we know about the attackers? Admiral Donovan finally asked. A tall man named Daniel Black stepped forward. He worked for Earth Intelligence. Nothing, sir. The ship design doesn't match anything in our database. The energy signature is new to us. Have we tried to contact them? General Wilson asked. We've been sending messages for 24 hours, Daniel said. Every language we know, no response. President Richard Hawkins arrived an hour later. He was a tall man with dark skin and serious eyes. He watched the Mercy recording without speaking. When it ended, he turned to his advisors. Options? He asked simply. Admiral Donovan spoke first. We need to find out who they are and why they did this. But first, we need to protect ourselves. I recommend activating the defense fleet. The defense fleet was small. After the Proxima War 30 years ago, Earth had kept only 50 warships active. The rest had been changed to science ships or put into deep sleep around Mars. Just the defense fleet? President Hawkins asked. Admiral Donovan looked at General D. Wilson. She nodded slightly. No, sir, Donovan said. I recommend waking the war fleet. The president's eyes widened. The war fleet was much bigger. Over 400 ships that had been sleeping for decades. No one had thought they would be needed again. That's a big step, Admiral, President Hawkins said. The Coalition might see it as a threat. The Coalition was the group of friendly alien species that worked with humans. They had all signed peace treaties after the Proxima War. "Mr. President," General Wilson said, "the Coalition lost people too. There were patients from 17 species on the Mercy. This attack was against all of us." President Hawkins thought for a long moment. "Wake the fleet," he finally said, "and call an emergency session of Congress." In orbit around Mars, large shipyards floated in space. They had been quiet for many years. Now they came alive with lights and movement. The ships inside were massive. Some were old, built before many of today's people were born. Service robots moved over their hulls, checking systems that had been asleep for decades. Commander Kate Miller arrived at the Luna Naval Academy the next day. She had been teaching young officers about alien psychology. Now she had new orders. "Welcome back, Commander," Admiral Donovan said when she arrived at his office. Kate was surprised. The Admiral rarely greeted anyone himself. "Thank you, sir, though I'm not sure where I've come back to." "The 7th Fleet," he said. "You're taking command." Kate tried not to show her shock. The 7th Fleet had 20 ships. It was a major command. "Sir, there are more senior officers available." "I don't need senior," Donovan said. "I need smart. You understand how aliens think. These attackers, they're not like anyone we've met before." He showed her the Mercy recording. When it ended, Kate was quiet for a long time. "They're sending a message," she finally said. "What message?" "They want us afraid," Kate said. "They didn't just destroy the ship. They made sure we saw them destroy the escape pods. They wanted us to watch." Across Earth, the news spread quickly. People gathered in city squares to see the Mercy recording. Most stood in silence. Some cried. A few grew angry. At recruitment centers, lines formed. Young people and old signed up to join Earth's military. Some had friends or family on the Mercy. Most just felt they needed to do something. President Hawkins spoke to the United Earth Congress the next day. Every seat was filled. The room was so quiet people could hear the air systems. "Yesterday," he began, "humanity witnessed an act of terrible cruelty. The UEM's Mercy was attacked without warning or reason. It carried no weapons. It threatened no one. Its only mission was to heal the sick and help the injured." He paused, looking around. "The room. We have tried to contact the attackers. They have not responded. We do not know their reasons. We do not know their demands. We know only their actions." The president's voice grew stronger. "For 30 years, Earth has lived in peace. We have explored. We have built. We have healed. The Mercy was the best of us. It represented our highest values." Screens around the room showed images of the Mercy on its many missions. Helping after natural disasters, saving lives during disease outbreaks, caring for the wounded from small conflicts. "I have ordered the activation of Earth's war fleet," President Hawkins said. "Not in anger, though we feel it. Not in hate, though. It would be easy. But because there are times when good people must stand against cruelty." The vote took less than an hour. Every member of Congress supported the president's decision. In orbit above Mars, the first of the old warships woke up, fully. Its name was the UES Defender. It had been a proud ship once, with a crew of 800. Now service robots repaired its systems and checked its weapons. On Luna, Commander Kate Miller met her new staff. They were the best officers from across Earth's fleet. "Why did they attack a hospital ship?" a young lieutenant asked during their first meeting. Kate looked at the faces around her. They were confused and angry, just like everyone else. "That's what we need to find out," she said. "And we need to do it fast, because I think they're coming back." Across the Sol system, humanity prepared for what might come next. They had been at peace for so long, some had forgotten how to make war. But they remembered now. They remembered because someone had broken the most basic rule. Someone had attacked those who could not defend themselves. Earth would not let that stand. The warfleet grew larger each day. Ships that had been sleeping for years woke up around Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Workers and robots moved across their hulls day and night. Lights burned in shipyards that had been dark for decades. John Vasquez watched from a small transport ship as they approached the UES Nightingale. The Nightingale was a hospital ship just like the Mercy had been. Now it was changing. "I never thought I'd see this," said the pilot beside him. John nodded. The Nightingale was twice as big as his old apartment building on Earth. Its white hull had been painted gray. Where there had been medical pods, there were now weapon mounts. "Neither did they," John said. He meant the aliens who had attacked the Mercy. "That's why we're doing it." John had been a medical engineer before. He had built systems to help doctors save lives. Now he was in charge of weapons for the Nightingale. The ship would still have medical areas, but smaller. Most of the space would be for war. They kept the Red Cross on the hull, the pilot noted as they got closer. It was true. The Nightingale still had the large Red Cross painted on its side, but now there was something else painted next to it. A sword. "So they never forget what we were before," John said, "and what they forced us to become." On Earth, training centers were full. People who joined Earth's military normally trained for 2 years. Now they had 6 months. There wasn't time for more. Lisa Martinez ran across a muddy field with 30 other new recruits. She had been a teacher before. She had never thought about being a soldier. But when she saw the Mercy recording, something changed inside her. "Move. Faster," shouted Sergeant Bill Harris. "The enemy won't wait for you to catch your breath." Lisa pushed harder. Her legs hurt. Her lungs burned. But she kept going. At the Ganymede Science Base near Jupiter, Dr. Elaine Barnes led a team studying the aliens. They didn't have much to work with, just the sensor readings from the Mercy and some small pieces of debris from the black ships. "Their energy readings are unlike anything we've seen," she told her team. "The way they move through space doesn't match our physics models." A young scientist named Peter Wong looked up from his screen. "Could they be from outside our galaxy?" Dr. Barnes shook her head. "Not likely. The energy cost would be too high, but they could be from an unexplored part of our galaxy." She pointed to a 3D map of the Milky Way. Most of the map was empty. Humans and their allies had explored less than 1% of the galaxy. "There's a lot of space out there," she said. "A lot of places to hide." In orbit around Earth's moon, Commander Kate Miller met with her intelligence team. They had been studying the attack pattern on the Mercy. "They hit life support first," said a lieutenant named Eric Johnson. "Then they targeted the escape pods." Kate nodded. "What does that tell us?" Eric looked uncomfortable. "That they wanted everyone dead." "Yes," Kate said. "But there's more. They didn't just want them dead. They wanted us to see it happen. They knew the Mercy would send a distress signal." An older woman named Dr. Sarah Martinez spoke up. She was an expert on alien behavior. "You think they were sending a message?" Kate stood and walked to the large screen showing the attack. "I think they were testing us. They wanted to see how we would respond to such a cruel act." "But why?" Eric asked. "To learn about us," Kate said. "To see if we're weak or strong." A week later, an alien ship arrived at Earth. But it wasn't one of the black attackers. It was a vessel from Arcturus, one of Earth's allies. President Hawkins met with the Arcturian ambassador in the White House. Arcturians were tall, with light blue skin and forearms. This one wore the simple white robe of their diplomatic corps. "We bring technology," the ambassador said. His voice translator made his words sound flat. "For your war fleet." President Hawkins was surprised. The Arcturians had never shared their advanced shield technology before. "Why now?" he asked. The ambassador's large eyes blinked slowly. "We had patients on the Mercy. Our wounded died there. We understand now that some enemies cannot be reasoned with." The president accepted the offered data cube. It contained designs for shields that were 3 times stronger than Earth's best technology. "We will share this with all coalition species," the ambassador added. "All must be ready." At Mars Shipyard, Admiral Donovan watched as the new shields were installed on the UES Defender. The ship was almost ready. Soon the whole first wave of the fleet would be. "Will it be enough?" asked General Wilson, who stood beside him. Donovan, didn't answer right away. The attackers had technology Earth had never seen. But the fleet was strong, and it was growing stronger. "It will have to be," he finally said. On the moon base, Commander Miller's team made an important discovery. They had been studying the flight patterns of the alien ships. "They're not random," Eric Johnson said, pointing to his screen. "They followed this exact pattern when they approached the Mercy, and again when they targeted the escape pods." Kate looked closely at the data. "You're right. It's too perfect to be chance." "What does it mean?" Dr. Martinez asked. "It means they follow rules," Kate said. "They have patterns they don't break. That gives us something to work with." 6 months after the destruction of the Mercy, Earth's war fleet was ready. 500 ships gathered in the space between Mars and Jupiter. From small, fast fighters to huge battleships, they formed the largest fleet humanity had ever built. Every ship had the same marking on its hull, a red cross with a sword. Admiral Donovan stood on the bridge of the UES Defender, the fleet's flagship. Around him, the crew worked at their stations. Most were young. Few had ever seen real combat. "Fleet is in position, sir," reported a young officer named Sam Brown. Donovan nodded. "Send the signal." Across the fleet, captains received their orders. The coordinates were set. They would jump to the place where the Mercy had been destroyed. Intelligence suggested the attackers might still be in that area. On the UES Nightingale, John Vasquez finished checking the last weapon system. The ship, that had once healed, now carried enough firepower to destroy a small moon. "All systems ready," he reported to the captain. On Earth, President Hawkins addressed the people one last time before the fleet left. "We did not want this war," he said, his face on screens around the world. "We tried peace for 30 years. We will try it again when this is over. But today, we must show that humanity will not allow such cruelty to go unanswered." The war fleet's engines began to glow. 500 ships prepared to jump to faster than light speed together. Admiral Donovan gave the final order. "All ships, jump." In a flash of light, Earth's war fleet vanished from the solar system. They were on their way to meet the enemy that had made a terrible mistake. They had hit a hospital ship. Now they would learn what that meant. The war fleet appeared at the edge of the Arcturus system in a flash of blue light. 500 ships, from fast scouts to heavy battleships, moved into formation. This was where the Mercy had been destroyed 6 months ago. Commander Kate Miller stood on the bridge of the UES Retribution. She was the second in command of the fleet under Admiral Donovan. The main screen showed empty space ahead. "Scan all sectors," she ordered. "Full range." Lieutenant Steve Garcia worked at the sensor station. His fingers moved quickly over the controls. "Scanning now, Commander." Kate felt her heart beat faster. This was the moment they had prepared for. Would the enemy be here? Or had they moved on to attack someone else? "Contact," Steve called out. 3 vessels detected, same configuration as the attackers. Kate moved to his station and looked at the screen. There they were. 3 black ships, shaped like arrowheads. They were in the exact spot where the Mercy had been destroyed. "They're still here," she said softly. "Why?" Admiral Donovan's face appeared on the communication screen. He was on the flagship UES Defender, at the center of the fleet. "You see them, Commander?" he asked. "Yes, sir," Kate replied. 3 ships, same as before." Donovan nodded. His face was grim. "Remember your orders. We try to talk once. Then we attack." The fleet moved forward slowly. The plan was simple. The bigger ships would form a wall in front. The smaller, faster ships would circle around to cut off escape. The enemy had 3 ships, Earth had 500. "They're moving," Steve reported, "forming a triangle pattern." Kate recognized the formation from the attack records. It's the same pattern they used when they attacked the Mercy. On the main screen, the 3 black ships arranged themselves in a perfect triangle. They began to move toward the fleet. "They're scanning us," Steve said. His voice was tense. "Focusing on our rear section." Kate thought for a moment. In traditional fleet formations, medical and support ships stayed at the rear, away from combat. The Mercy had been alone when it was attacked. Now the aliens faced a war fleet, but they were using the same tactics. Suddenly, she understood. "Admiral," she called to Donovan, "they're looking for medical ships. They expect our wounded to be in the rear section." Admiral Donovan's eyes narrowed. "You think they specifically target those who cannot fight back?" "Yes, sir," Kate said. "They're predators. They go for the weakest targets." Donovan smiled for the first time in months. It wasn't a happy smile. "Then they're in for a surprise. Our rear section is where we put our heaviest destroyers." The alien ships accelerated toward the rear of Earth's fleet. They seemed to ignore the main battle group entirely. "They don't even see us as a threat," Kate said. "That's why they're still using the same tactics." "Communications Officer Paul Lee," Admiral Donovan called. "Send the message now." Paul Lee was a young man with steady hands. He had practiced this message many times. "This is the United Earth. War Fleet. You have committed an act of war against humanity. Respond immediately." They waited. 10 seconds passed. 20. 30. No response came. "They're still heading for our rear section," Steve reported. "Increasing speed." Admiral Donovan gave the order. "All ships weapons free. Rear destroyer group engage targets." The battle was nothing like the old war movies Kate had watched as a child. There were no loud explosions in space, no fire, just silent flashes of energy as Earth's ships fired their weapons. The alien ships seemed surprised by the attack. They tried to change course, but it was too late. They had flown directly into a trap. The destroyer UES Thunder fired first. Its main weapon sent a beam of energy that cut through the lead alien ship's shields. The alien ship fired back, but the new Arcturian shields on the Thunder held. "Their weapons are strong," Steve said, watching the data on his screen. "But our new shields are stronger." 2 more destroyers joined the attack. The alien ships tried to form a new pattern, but Earth's ships were everywhere now. Small, fast fighters circled them, firing from all angles. "They didn't expect us to be ready," Kate said. "They thought this would be like attacking the Mercy." The first alien ship exploded in a silent flash of light. The second followed a minute later. The third tried to escape, jumping to faster than light speed. But a precision strike from the UES Lightning hit its engines first. "We have a disabled enemy vessel," reported the captain of the Lightning. "Engines destroyed, weapons offline." Admiral Donovan's orders had been clear from the start. "We need one intact," he had told the fleet commanders. "We need to understand what we're facing." Kate felt a moment of hope. If they could capture an alien ship, they might learn who these attackers were and why they had targeted the Mercy. "Prepare boarding teams," Admiral Donovan ordered. "Full combat gear. We don't know what we're dealing with yet." On the UES Retribution, soldiers put on spacesuits designed for fighting. They carried weapons and tools for cutting through unknown ship hulls. No one had ever boarded an alien vessel like this before. The boarding ships were just about to launch when Kate noticed something on the sensor readings. "Admiral," she called urgently, "I'm detecting a massive energy buildup in the disabled alien ship." Before Donovan could respond, the alien ship exploded. It was a much bigger explosion than it should have been for a ship that size. "They self-destructed," Kate said. "They didn't want us to see inside their ship." Steve looked up from his sensor station, his face pale. "Commander, I'm detecting a massive energy surge. 6 light years away, but heading this way." Kate felt a cold feeling in her stomach. "How many ships?" Steve shook his head. "Hundreds, maybe thousands. The readings are off the charts." Admiral Donovan's voice was calm when he spoke, but Kate could hear the tension in it. "All ships, battle, formation." This was just their advance group. The fleet moved quickly into a defensive position, 500 ships against what might be thousands. The aliens had made a mistake. They had thought humanity would be easy prey. They had learned otherwise today. But now the real test was coming. "Send a message to Earth," Admiral Donovan ordered. "Tell them what we found, and what's coming." As the message raced back to Earth, the fleet prepared for battle. The aliens would arrive in less than a day. Earth's war fleet would be ready. They had hit a hospital ship. Now they would face humanity's full response. The message from the aliens came 12 hours after the battle. It was simple and sent on all frequencies. Earth ships could understand it perfectly. The weak sustain the strong. This is the natural order. That was all. No name, no demands. Just those two sentences. On the UES Defender, Admiral Donovan gathered his commanders on a secure channel. Faces appeared on screens around the room. Some were on ships nearby. Others were back in the Sol system. "What does it mean?" asked the captain of the UES Thunder. Commander Kate Miller spoke up. "They see us as food, or something like it." Everyone looked at her. Admiral Donovan nodded for her to continue. "Dr. Barnes from the science team just sent her report," Kate explained. "The debris from the alien ships contains biological components, parts that were alive once." "Like organs?" someone asked. "More like technology made from living things," Kate said. "And not just one species, many different ones." Admiral Donovan understood first. "The hospital ship. That's why they targeted it." Kate nodded. The Mercy wasn't just a target. It was a collection point. Lots of different species in one place. Weak. Unable to fight back. The room went quiet as everyone realized what this meant. The aliens hadn't attacked out of anger or for territory. They had attacked to harvest. "They farm vulnerable populations," Kate said. "Hospital ships, refugee ships, civilian stations. These aren't just targets to them, they're resources." Admiral Donovan looked at the star map showing the approaching alien fleet. "How long until they arrive?" 10 hours, said the tactical officer. "Not enough time for reinforcements from Earth," Donovan said. "We face them with what we have." The plan came together quickly. Earth's fleet would not try to fight the whole alien force. That would be suicide. Instead, they would hit hard and fast, then jump away to the next system. Force the aliens to follow them, draw them away from civilian targets. "We can't beat them in one battle," Donovan told his commanders, "but we can make them bleed." The UES Nightingale, once a hospital ship, now prepared for a new role. Its modified medical sensors could detect the unique biological signatures of the alien ships from far away. "We can find their hunting parties before they reach civilian targets," said Captain Olivia Patel, who commanded the Nightingale. She had been one of the few survivors from the Mercy, rescued from an escape pod before the attack. "We were healers," she told her crew as they prepared for battle. "Now we're the vaccine." When the alien fleet arrived, it filled the view screens of Earth's ships. Black vessels of all sizes, from small fighters to huge ships that dwarfed Earth's largest battleships. There were hundreds of them. "All ships battle formation," Admiral Donovan ordered. "Remember the plan. Hit and run. Make them follow us." Earth's fleet fired first. New weapons based on Arcturian technology cut through the front line of alien ships. The aliens seemed surprised by the attack. They had expected easy prey, not a prepared enemy. The battle was fierce but short. Earth's ship struck hard at the alien front line, then jumped away to the next system. The aliens followed just as planned. For 3 weeks, the war spread across 5 star systems. Earth lost ships in every battle, but the aliens lost more. The Nightingale found alien hunting parties targeting civilian stations and refugee ships. Earth's fast attack ships destroyed them before they could reach their targets. Other species began to notice. Races that had stayed neutral now saw the threat. The Arcturians were the first to join the fight, sending 30 warships to help Earth's fleet. Then came the Centaurians and the people of Vega. A new coalition formed. Not because Earth had the strongest fleet, but because humans had been the first to stand up against this threat. "They hunt the weak," Kate explained to representatives from 20 alien species. "If we don't stop them now, they'll target all of us eventually." Admiral Donovan received new orders from Earth. It was time to take the fight to the enemy. Intelligence had found the location of a harvester world, the name they now used for the aliens. "We're going to hit them at home," he told the fleet. "Show them that attacking the defenseless has consequences." The combined fleet gathered at the edge of harvester space. Now there were 800 ships from 7 different species. Earth still led the fleet, but they were no longer alone. On the UES Nightingale, Dr. Alan Ward prepared the medical bays. He had survived the destruction of the Mercy and volunteered to serve on the Nightingale. Once he had been a healer only. Now, he was part of a war. He looked at the symbol on his uniform. The Red Cross was still there, but now a sword protected it. "We didn't want this war," he said to Captain Patel as they watched the fleet form up. "But we will end it." The Harvester home system was heavily defended. Sensor readings showed thousands of ships and orbital platforms, but many were not warships. They were processing stations where harvested materials and harvested people were taken. "This is what we're fighting," Admiral Donovan told the fleet commanders. "This is why we can't lose." The battle plan was complex. While the main fleet engaged the harvester defenses, small strike teams would target the processing stations. They would free any prisoners and gather intelligence on the harvesters. As the fleet prepared to jump, Admiral Donovan sent one last message to Earth. "We may not all come back from this," he said, "but the harvesters will know that targeting the defenseless was their biggest mistake." The jump took the fleet directly into harvester space. The battle began immediately. Harvester ships rushed to defend their home system. They fought harder here than they had before, but the coalition fleet fought harder too. They had seen what happened to the weak when the harvesters came. They were fighting not just for themselves, but for all those who could not fight. The war would last years. It would cost many lives. But it had begun with a simple, terrible choice by an enemy who had fatally misunderstood human nature. They hit a hospital ship, so Earth launched its war fleet. And now the harvesters would learn that humanity's greatest strength was not in weapons or numbers. It was in their fierce protection of those who could not protect themselves. As Captain Patel led the Nightingale into battle, she thought of the Mercy, of the patients and crew who had died there, of the aliens who had thought that targeting the weak made them strong. "We remember," she whispered as the first shots were fired, "and we will not let it happen again." The battle for the Harvester homeworld had begun, and humanity led the way.